Hello, this is Rob Stevens from NileFM. Thank you very much for joining me for this very special episode. Now today there's a guy who's joined us who is a legend, not just to myself, but to so many people when it comes to the antiquities of Egypt. It's Dr. Zahi Hawass. Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us on this very special episode. I've got so many questions after seeing you from such a young age, watching you on the TV and every single TV show that I've ever watched that's explained the history of ancient Egypt to me. You've been in that, so for me this is like, wow. First of all, I need to ask, where is your hat?
My hat is, the original one is behind you.
What's the story behind the hat?
When I was young, I used to wear a farmer hat and I did not like it, but I went to LA in America once and I entered in a shop and I saw a hat made in Australia. Then I did wear it and it began a part of me when I excavating, making a discovery.
It's hot in the desert.
And became famous, and this is why we have a replica of it and people are selling it. And the money goes went for the Children's Museum in Cairo, and now it's for the Hospital of Cancer for the Children, 357.
That is fantastic. I mean, it's almost, you've made it iconic. You and your hat. I mean, looking around your office where we're at the moment, there's just pictures of you on the wall everywhere wearing the hat. It's such an iconic thing. So for you, how important is it to promote the history of ancient Egypt?
You know, it's very important because the history of Egypt has magic and a thrill to the people, especially when you make a discovery. Like next week on the 8th, we are going to announce a major discovery in Luxor, because I'm excavating in the Valley of the Kings now, and also excavating in Saqqara. Then it's important always for me to talk about the thrill and the amazing moment of the discovery.
So can you explain to us, how does it feel when you make a discovery and you're the first person to enter a tomb after thousands of years?
It's something that I can't explain. It's something inside me that people has to see and not for me to talk about it.
It's almost like butterflies in your stomach, I'm guessing. Yes. And how many discoveries have you actually personally been involved with?
No, I mean, I've been excavating for the last 50 years of my life. That's why I made major important discoveries. The tombs of the pyramid builders, the Valley of the Golden Mummies, major discoveries, and I found in Saqqara about a month ago a big, large cemetery with mummies and coffins, and also in the Valley of the Kings, royal workshops, and the announcement that we're going to make next week is really amazing in Luxor, and we're inviting all the press to come on the 10th of this month to witness the great discovery that I'm going to announce.
Out of all the discoveries that you've been involved with throughout the entirety of your career, which one to you is?
It's a discovery has a taste. I can't tell you one. All of them I love very much.
All of them are almost like the same, but excellent in every single way that they've been discovered and that you've been a part of it as well.
Yes, but you know, every discovery I told you has a story. I can't tell you what I really prefer. I prefer all of them.
This weekend on Saturday is another historic event. It's going to be the parade, the Royal Golden Parade of the Mummies. Can you tell me exactly?
No, but I want to tell you first, you know, the idea for moving the mummies from Cairo Museum to Civilization Museum, it began to be my idea before. Wow. Because when I was young, I took Princess Margaret to the Cairo Museum, and she saw the mummy of Ramses II. She covered her eyes and ran away. I said, why? She said, I cannot stand looking at a king like this. Wow. And after that, President Sadat came to the museum and said, let us think, how can we move the mummies to their tombs or covering their faces? Then the idea came to me when I built the Civilization Museum, is to make the museum in a shape of a tomb and tunnels like the Valley of the Kings. Yeah. And have a big coffin in every room for the mummies, to be accompanied by ideas about mummification, ideas about the king himself, and the coffin statues of the king, and the result of the CT scan and DNA that I did. Then for the first time, you are going to see the mummies in the Civilization Museum with education, not as a thrill as we used to see it in the Cairo Museum. And therefore, this parade is going to be very important for the country, because 18 kings and 4 queens are going to walk in the streets of Cairo for 48 minutes. Wow. For the first time. And I will tell you, I brought the mummy of Ramses I from Atlanta, and I was received with the mummy with 500 reporters. And now you have 22 kings and queens going to be in the streets of Cairo,
Mm-hmm.
And that is a magic.
It's going to be something historic, as I was saying.
Yes.
It's going to be broadcast all over the world on over 400 television and cable channels. It's a historic day. But could you talk us through what's going to be actually happening as they're leaving the museum?
The Cairo Museum, in that moment, the Tahrir Square will be lighted with the obelisk and the 4 ram heads. And after that, we prepared all the roads that are going to be smooth, no one single shaking. Every mummy, we designed a car for the mummy and going to be in a box, contain nitrogen to control humidity and heat. And after that, we'll put it in a stable box that there is no way that the mummy will be moved at all. But because people are afraid of the mummies. The mummies were moved from Luxor in 1881 in a boat for 3 days and went to the Bulak Museum. And after that went to the palace of Ismail Pasha, and after that went to Cairo Museum, and it was not shown until 1958. Then the mummies are in a good condition that nothing will happen to the mummies at all.
They've done quite a bit of travelling in the past 100 years then.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so you brushed on the new museum. Can you tell us what we can expect when we actually go to the
museum? Is amazing because it's a civilization museum. It tells the history of Egypt, and we choose a very beautiful spot in a lake. The lake is cleaned and all the streets around it, and really it became a very touristic area. And I began to think about moving the mummies, and thanks to Dr. Khalid Al-Anani that he did follow my idea, because we have now the Grand Museum that will open end of this year, and the hero in the Grand Museum is King Tutankhamun. The Civilization Museum, without the mummies, no one will go. And therefore, putting the mummies in the Civilization Museum, it will highlight the museum. And Cairo Museum still will be a beautiful museum, tell the people about the history of art.
And the good thing is it's right next to the pyramids as well. The design is beautiful, so congratulations on that as well.
Thank you.
Now, I know that you're very pressed with time because of everything that's going on with the parade itself. So thank you very much for joining us here on Nile FM, and we'll see you there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hit music for Egypt. Nile FM.